Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Pickles and Bacon Show podcast. Rewind. Today is one of those days that just kind of like it sucks because it's the 30th anniversary of the death of Selena. She died March 31st, 1995. And well, no news is good news, but Um, before we get into it, we just want to say that Yolanda Saldivar, her murderer, had been up for parole and it was denied, which we like because she needs to stay her ass in the prison. All right, so in the beginning, we discussed about, you know, how we knew Selena, what we do. So let's get into it. Deke, what did you know about Selena growing up? Like, how did you hear about her? All of that.
Well, let me kind of set the groundwork for everyone and for everyone watching here live. So, the first time that heard about Selena, I didn't know who she was because we're originally from Chicago, and so I didn't know who she was until I went into a gas station that was by our house. Our mom had gone in there to get gas, and the girl behind the counter was crying. And my mom asked her, she goes, "What's the matter?" She goes, "Are you okay?" And the girl looked at her and said, "Selena passed away, or Selena died." And she goes, "Who's Selena?" And then it was just a downward spiral from there. Like we started getting into her music and discovering who she was. And like it was just like we just went down a rabbit hole. And I have to admit, it was something that I never would have dreamed in a million years that I'd be sitting here talking about. But I am honored to be keeping her memory alive.
Yeah. Same. Again, Deke is my brother, or Tocino as
Unfortunately, the
Bacon is my brother.
unfortunately the test results haven't come back yet.
And yeah, we're from Chicago, so we knew about Tejano music like from the Texas Tornadoes and like Spanish music like Linda Ronstadt and things like that, but we didn't know Selena until we heard that she died. But my memory of her death is so much more broad, I guess, because I remember the news footage of Yolanda in the truck, crying and carrying on that she had killed her best friend, and like everybody trying to piece it together, and it was kind of on the news like all day. And then I also remember the subsequent specials that were coming on after that, like on Telemundo and Univision, and it seemed like for a solid like 2 to 3 months after her death there was a lot of specials that were coming on both in English and in Spanish. um Deke and I, my dad is Puerto Rican. Our dad is Puerto Rican. My mom is Mexican, but we never grew up speaking Spanish. So all of the Spanish that I learned has either been from listening to Selena or actually like working in restaurants and hotels and things like that. It's not the best. But my memory of Selena's also when the Dreaming of You album was released and how it went to number one and listening to this music all the time. And I remember how it made me feel when I started listening to Amor Prohibido, how it was um, such a good album. And like, I remember playing it on on the stereo in our front room at the
Also,
house
that's
that
my
grew up
favorite
in,
album. That's my favorite album.
and it's one of my favorite albums. Uh, Dreaming of You is such a great song, and so is I Could Fall in Love. And then, of course, the Selena movie that came out in 1997 with Jennifer Lopez and Edward James Olmos. That was also such a big, movie, and kind of like La Bamba in a sense. And Chris Perez was here, lived here in San Antonio. Um, I'll never forget seeing Selena's funeral on TV with the casket open, and it was like she looked like she was sleeping, and um, that kind of thing. So that's what I remember about Selena, and then I remember seeing the movie at the theater when it first came out. But yeah, that's my memory of Selena, like how I got into that. And like to me, Selena is such an idol for me that like even though I love the Selena movie, but like I cannot stand J-Lo. Cause to me, I don't think that J-Lo fully encompassed everything that Selena was about, or that that playful spirit or anything like that, but that's just me. All right, so let's get into talking about Selena and where she comes from. Shall we?
Yep.
All right, so Selena Quintanilla-Pérez was born April 16th, 1971. She was
Oh
an
wow, her
American.
birthday's coming up.
Yeah, she was an American singer and songwriter and known as the Queen of Tejano music. For those of you who don't know, Tejano music is Tejano means Texan, and Tejano music is like a brand of a mixture of like country, jazz, R&B, all mixed together to create that sound. To me, I like to say Tejano music is basically country music in Spanish because it
Thank you.
sort of is.
Thank you.
Um, Her contribution to the music and fashion made her one of the most celebrated Mexican American entertainers in the last 20th century. In 2020, Billboard magazine put her in third place on their list of greatest Latino artists of all time, and that's based on Latin albums and Latin song charts. Medina outlets called her Tejano Madonna for her clothing choices, and she also ranks among the most influential Latin artists of all time, and is credited for catapulting Tejano genre into the mainstream market. The youngest in of the Quintinilla family, she debuted in the music scene as a member of the band Selena y los Dinos, which included her older siblings A. B. Quintanilla. I don't like that man, but don't at me. Suzette Quintanilla, her sister, and in the 1980s, she was often criticized and refused bookings at venues across Texas for performing Tejano music, a male dominated music genre. However, as her popularity grew and after she won the Tejano Award for Female Vocalist of the Year in 1987, she then won nine consecutive times. Then she signed with EMI Latin in 1989 and released her self titled debut album. The same year, while her brother became her principal music producer and songwriter. Selena released Entrad a Mi Mundo in 1992, which peaked at number one in the US Billboard Regional Mexican Music Album charts for the 8 consecutive months. The album's commercial success led music critics to call it the breakthrough recording of her music career. One of its singles, Como la Flor, became one of her most popular signature songs. The live album won Mexican American Album at the 1999 Grammys, becoming the first recording by a female Tejano artist to do so. And sidebar, at the time that she won this Grammy in 1994, she is the first Tejano singer to actually be featured on the show when the category was not shown on the show. Um, Becoming the first, she also then released Amor Prohibido, which became one of the best selling Latin albums in the United States. It was critically acclaimed as being responsible for Tejano music's first marketable era, as it became one of the most popular Latin music subgenres at the time. Selena was shot and killed on March 31st, 1995, by Yolanda Saldivar, her friend and former manager of the Selena boutiques. Saldivar was cornered by police when attempted to flee and threatened to kill herself, but was convinced to give herself up. She was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole with possible parole after 30 years. 2 weeks after Selena's death, George W. Bush, then governor of Texas, declared April 16th as Selena Day in Texas. Her posthumous crossover album, Dreaming of You, debuted atop the Billboard 200, making Selena the first Latin artist to accomplish this feat. In 1997, Warner Brothers released Selena, a film about her life and career, which starred the then unknown Jennifer Lopez as Selena, catapulting Lopez into fame. In 2020, Netflix released Selena, the series starring Christian Serratos as Selena, and Selena since has sold around 18 million records worldwide, making her one of the best female artists in Latin music. So that's from Wikipedia, but a little bit about Selena when she was a kid and things like that. She was born April 16th at Freeport Community Hospital in Freeport, Texas. She's the youngest child of Marcela Quintanilla, and who's Mexican American with some Cherokee ancestry, and
I knew it.
Abraham Quintanilla Jr., a Mexican American former musician. Um, the obstetrician who birthed her was future House of Representatives member Ron Paul, and Selena was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. If you've heard the rumors about that, you know. So Abraham noticed her musical abilities when she was 6. He would later tell People magazine her timing, and her pitch were perfect. I could see it from day one. In 1980, Abraham opened his first Tex-Mex restaurant in Lake Jackson, Papagayos, where Selena and her siblings, AB and Suzette, on the bass guitar and drums, would often perform. That's a very funny part in the movie, where
That's why I smiled a little bit.
the sign looks like it says Papa Yo-Yo's. I think about that part all the time. Um, the following the following year, the restaurant was forced to close after a recession caused by the 1980s oil glut, and the family declared bankruptcy and were evicted from their home. They settled in Corpus Christi, Texas, with Abraham becoming the manager of the newly formed Selena y Los Dinos and began promoting it. They needed the money and they played on street corners, weddings, quinceañeras, and fairs. As Selena's popularity grew, the demands of Selena's performance and travel schedule began to interfere with her education. Now, I say this because I was watching a documentary from KSAT the other day that's on YouTube. Guys, if you didn't know, um, somebody on TikTok was asking about why they didn't show the Selena movie or any documentaries about Selena on Netflix or things like that. I'm like, you got to be going to YouTube because all the documentaries and all the specials were on YouTube. Like I saw one from KSAT 12. I saw one from Houston. I even saw the press conference from the former prosecutor who prosecuted Yolanda, and he was talking about the facts of the case and why she got denied parole. Um, but anyways, her teachers, Selena's teachers, apparently um spoke at her trial uh when Yolanda was on trial for murder. Um, they were upset with her father taking her out of school when she was in the 8th grade. Her teacher Marilyn Greer disapproved of Selena's musical career. She threatened to report Abraham to the Texas Board of Education, believing the conditions to which Selena were exposed were inappropriate for a girl her age. Quintinilla told Greer to mind her business. Sure, Jan. And other teachers expressed their concerns when they noticed how tired Selena appeared when she arrived at school. At 17, Selena earned a high school diploma from the American School of Correspondence in Chicago, and she was also accepted to Louisiana State University, where Uh, she enrolled at Pacific Western University, taking business administration as her major subject. I didn't know about her going to college. That's where she learned about how to open the boutiques and things like that, which that's not really mentioned a lot in the news, but it was also in the book that I was reading about her. Abraham refurbished an old bus. He named it Big Bertha, and the family used it as their tour bus. In the first years of touring, the family sang for food and barely had enough money to pay for gasoline. In 1984, Selena recorded her first LP, Selena y Los Dinos, for Freddie Records. Despite wanting to record English language songs, Selena recorded Tejano music compositions, which was then a male dominated Spanish language genre with German influences of polka, jazz, and country music, popularized by Mexicans living in the United States. Abraham believed that Selena should record musical compositions related to her heritage. And during the recording sessions for the album, Selena had to learn Spanish phonetically with the guidance from her father. In 1985, to promote the album, Selena appeared on the Johnny Canales show. Johnny Canales was he was like okay, he was like the Mexican Dick Clark.
Or Ed
With
Sullivan, no matter how far back you go.
I mean, yeah. If you're older, the Mexican Ed Sullivan, the Mexican Dick Clark. So let's just leave that there. A popular Spanish language radio program on which she continued to appear for several years. Selena was discovered by musician Rudy Trevino, founder of the Tejano Music Awards, where she won Female Vocalist of the Year in 1987 and for 9 consecutive years after that. The band was often turned down by Texas music venues because of the members' ages and because Selena was their lead singer. Her father was often told by promoters that Selena would never be successful because she was a woman in a genre historically dominated by men. In 1988, Selena had released 5 more LPs: Alpha, Muñequito de Trapo, and the winner is Preciosa and Dulce de Amor. And then now she's going to become famous. So, Jose Behar of the formed EMI Latin Records, together with the new head of Sony Latin, watched Selena perform at the Tejano Music Awards. Behar was searching for new Latin acts and wanted to sign Selena to EMI's Capitol Records, while Sony Music Latin offered Quintinilla twice Capitol signing fee. Behar thought he discovered the next Gloria Estefan, but his superior called Behar's illogical because he had been in South Texas less than a week. Abraham chose EMI's Latin offer because of the potential for a crossover album, and he wanted his children to be the first Latino musicians signed to that label. That was not in the movie, but it's in the huh? Oh, well, I can't do anything about it. Oh, you're frozen. There you are. Can you see?
I
I
can see
can see
now.
you now. Okay. Um, so that part wasn't in the movie, but it's in the show if you watch the Netflix show. Um, in the Netflix show, I think the Netflix show went into more detail and kind of like showed all of this, but we'll get to that in a minute. Before Selena began recording her debut album, Behar and Stephen Finfer requested a crossover album from her. She recorded 3 English language compositions for the head of EMI's pop division. Behar and Finfer's request for a crossover album was denied, and Selena was told she needed a bigger fan base to sell such an album. Behar thought EMI Records and the public did not believe a Mexican American woman could have crossover potential after Chris Kopelman denied the project. Selena then released her self-titled debut album on October the 17th, 1989, and the singer recorded most of the songs at Amen Studio in San Antonio, Texas.
See, okay, hold on. Time out for a second. Flag on the play for a second. I didn't know she went back that far. I thought she was more like 90s.
I know. I'm going to see if Amen Studio still exists.
I think so, because I think that's where the Tornadoes recorded.
Let's see. Let's see if it still exists.
Tinkerbell, feel free to come up if you want.
American Recording. It's on Pleasanton. Let's see.
On Pleasanton Drive or Pleasanton Road?
It's on Pleasanton Road. Apparently, it is still there.
I think the Texas Tornadoes have recorded there.
Probably Moss has recorded there. La Mafia recorded there. Irene Rivas. Manny Guerra, Rudy Guerra. I was like, I've never heard of them.
Okay, time out
All
for
right.
a second here on the podcast. Hey, Tinkerbell, sorry, we're just recording this podcast, so.
Hi, guys.
You know. Hey. All right, so we're going to jump back in. Y'all just sit tight. We'll come back to y'all.
Okay. Selena's first song, Sukiyaki and My Love, were recorded at the Sunrise Studios in Houston. Selena wrote My Love and wanted the song to be included on her album. Her brother AB became Selena's principal record producer and songwriter for most of her songwriting career. Though he did not write tracks Sukiyaki and Contigo Quiere Estar and No Te Vayas. Sorry, I'm not good at Spanish. Sukiyaki was originally recorded in Japanese in the 1960s by Kaiju Sakamoto, and Selena used a translation into Spanish of an English version of the song by Janice Marie Johnson. Selena peaked at number 7 on the U.S. Billboard Regional Mexican Album Chart, becoming Selena's first recording to debut on the national music charts. The album performed better than recordings and other contemporary female Tejano singers. In that same year, Coca-Cola wanted Selena to become one of their spokespeople in Texas. Now, sidebar, when this occurred, when she became the spokesperson for Coke, at the time, a lot of the Tejano men and artists were getting beer commercials and like things like that. But no, Abraham's like, not my daughter. So that's why they chose Coke.
But you see what's happening now, right? You see what's slowly happening, right? It's starting to go.
Yep. So Selena, same year, Coke wanted Selena to become one of their spokespeople in Texas. And the jingle used in her first 2 commercials for the company were composed by AB and Chris Perez. Chris
That
Perez, you
name sounds
say?
familiar.
Chris Perez, you say?
Name sounds
Well,
familiar. Yeah.
hold on to your hats because we're going to find out who that is here momentarily.
If you don't already know. Dun, dun, dun.
The latter of whom joined Selena Ilosino several months earlier as the band's new guitarist. Okay, here goes. Perez began having romantic feelings for Selena despite having a girlfriend in San Antonio. The scandalo, right? After a trip down to Mexico with the band, Perez thought it would be best for them both to distance themselves, but he found it impossible and chose to try to build a relationship with Selena. Ugh, the scandal. They expressed their feelings for each other at a Pizza Hut restaurant and shortly afterward became a
I mean,
couple.
I can't even complain.
Okay. We got to talk about the Pizza Hut thing because, okay, remember in the movie, like, um, Chris is all showing off that he likes food hot and he's all being macho and everything, so he goes and puts the Tabasco sauce on his pizza, and she's like, hey, that's too much, you're not gonna eat it. And then she's like, I could eat a whole medium pizza and scarf Doritos and Coke and never exercise, when they ask her about her secrets. And then Chris goes and takes a bite of the pizza and he's like, oh my god, it's too hot, and he starts coughing. And she's like, oh, you have to have half of my pizza. And he's like, what kind is it? And then she's like, pepperoni. But he's like, no, I don't like pepperoni. It's too hot. I was like, lame. Lame. But funny part, though. All right. Okay. So, where were we? Perez and Selena hid their relationship, fearing Abraham would try to break them up. A couple scenes in the movie later.
No comments. I'm just going to be sitting here
Oh,
like.
no. Oh, we finna discuss that here in a little bit. We're going to discuss that part here in a little bit.
Yeah, and stay tuned because we're going to tie Selena and another person that we talked about in here in a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, Selena recorded her second studio album, Ven Conmigo, in September 1990. 3 tracks from Ven Conmigo were released as singles: Ya Ves, La Chacalera, and Baila Esta Cumbia. You guys, I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish very well. You're just going to have to deal with it. The latter, a Tejano cumbia song, became one of Selena's most successful singles. Its popularity grew in Mexico, where a uh, where a compilation album bearing the single's name was released there, which which was certified platinum by the Asociación Mexicana de Pro. You know what? Just whatever. It was just
the Mexican Music Association. Goddamn it!
Pretty much, denoting sales of 150 units. Okay, are you guys ready?
Here it comes.
Okay. A registered nurse and fan named Yolanda Saldivar. Hold on, I gotta be on camera from this when I say it. Okay, I'm back. A registered nurse and fan named Yolanda Saldivar asked Abraham if they could start a fan club in San Antonio. Saldivar had the idea after she had attended one of Selena's concerts, and Abraham approved Saldivar's request. He believed the fan club would bring more exposure for the band, and Saldivar soon became a close friend to Selena and to the family, and she was trusted and became the acting president of the fan club in 1991. The same year,
off, y'all. She's about to go off, y'all. She's about to go off. We gotta watch her. She's about to go off.
The same year, Salvadorian singer Alvaro Torres composed a duet he wanted to record with Selena. The song Buenos Amigos, which was produced by Enrique Elizondo and was recorded on Torres' 10th studio album, Nada se compara contigo. Buenos Amigos peaked at number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Top Latin Songs, giving Selena her first number 1 single. The song's music video earned Selena and Torres 2 nominations at the 1992 Billboard Music Awards. The track was also nominated for Duo of the Year in 1992's Tejano Music Awards. Biographer Deborah Perez wrote that the track enabled Selena to tour the West and East Coasts of the United States. According to John Lannert of Billboard magazine, Buenos Amigos helped but increased airplay on regional Mexican and Tejano radio stations which had previously dismissed Selena's recordings.
But see, okay, right there, I feel like it's kind of like a recurring theme here where they're like not taking her seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what I'm feeling like is happening.
Exactly. So, this is we're about 1992 and 1993. Selena's sister Suzette claimed to have caught Selena and Perez flirting with each other and immediately informed their father. I knew it!
She's the snitch. I knew it.
Abraham took Perez off the bus and told him his relationship was over. And she's like, Daddy, I love him. Remember in the movie? And he's like, you're young, you're beautiful, and you're rich. And she's like, that's okay, Daddy. I really love him. And he's like, he's just a bum musician. And then he's like, I'll disband the group and nobody will sing. And then Chris is like, don't worry, I'll make my own way. And he gets off the bus. Like, I'm just saying, prime acting. Selena and Perez continued their relationship despite Abraham's disapproval. Selena's mother, Marcella, approved of the relationship because she's got a level head. Abraham saw Selena and Perez romantically together on the bus. After he informed them of his disapproval, he pulled over and an argument between him and Selena ensued.
That was a part from the movie that we just quoted.
Yeah, he called Perez a cancer in my family and threatened to disband the group if they continue a relationship. Guys, put a pin in that because we're going to get back to that as well, too.
No, I'm going to address this right now. I'm going to open this book right now and then like I'm going to take a break from this because I got to address this. I feel like if it wasn't for like people that interview them, I guarantee you Chris would not be present at a lot of these functions.
Oh, for sure.
If it wasn't for like the media and stuff, we're gonna open this book right now.
Yeah, for sure. I've always felt like that. Okay, so Selena and Perez relented, and Abraham fired Perez from the band and prevented Selena from leaving with him. After his dismissal, Perez and Selena secretly continued their relationship, and on the morning of April 2nd, 1992, Selena and Perez decided to elope, believing Abraham would never approve of their relationship. Selena thought her father would have to accept them if they were married and would not have to hide their feelings for each other. Within the hours of their marriage, the media announced the couple's elopement. That was the part where they're riding in the car and she's like, no, anywhere but Corpus. So I guess they went to San Antonio in the movie. Anyways.
No, because she goes home, and then like that's where it takes the downward spiral.
Selena's family tried to find her. Abraham did not take the news well and alienated himself for some time. Selena and Chris moved into an apartment in Corpus Christi. In interviews, Abraham expressed how he feared Perez would be a machista, which is Spanish for a male chauvinist, and who would force Selena to end her career and her musical goals. A move that prevented Abraham to accept Perez as being suitable for Selena at the time. Abraham later approached Perez, apologized, and accepted the marriage, and took Perez back into the band. That's some mighty big words for someone who controlled Selena. You know, I was listening to a podcast last night, where they were talking about Selena and the Selena movie, and they said the exact same thing that I said, that Abraham reminded them of Joe Jackson. Do with that what you will. Take that however you want to take it.
But I will say this though, and this is gonna be controversial, and I know people are gonna come at me. At least he didn't beat them like Joe Jackson did.
I mean, true, but we
Because
still.
let's be honest. No, let's be honest. He was beating the records out of them.
That is true. That is true.
Whereas Selena and them, sorry Tinkerbell, I know you like the Jacksons, but I'm fitting to say it. Joe was beating the records out of them, whereas Abraham Quintinilla was actually letting her do what she wanted to do.
That is true. A month after her elopement, Selena released her third album, Entrad a mi Mundo, in May of 1992. The album was critically acclaimed as her breakthrough album. The recording peaked at number one in the US Billboard Regional Music Albums chart for 8 consecutive months. It was certified 10 times platinum by the Record Industry Association of America for sales of 600,000 equivalent units. This is back when they actually sold CDs and tapes, guys. In
Back
Mexico.
many years ago.
Entrad mi Mundo became the first Tejano album by a female artist to sell over 300,000 copies. Selena was booked for a high-profile border press tour in Monterrey, Mexico, with music media figures in a meet and greet conference at the time. At the time, Tejanos were looked down on as hayseed pachos. I don't know what that means, among Mexican citizens. The singer's Spanish was far from fluent, and
Give me 2 minutes, y'all. I'll be right back.
EMI record executives were terrified about the singer's limited Spanish during the press conference for the album in Mexico. This part in the movie is actually filmed here in San Antonio at what's known as the Central Library. It's a big, colorful, like reddish orange, like I think it's called terracotta sort of building. And that's the part where she's like, "Me siento muy excited." EMI executives were terrified about the singer's limited Spanish during the press conference for the album in Mexico. According to Petoskey, Selena played her cards right during the conference and won over the Mexican media as the newspapers hailed her an artist of the people. The newspapers found her to be a refreshing change from Mexican telenovela actors who were fair-skinned, blonde, and green-eyed.
Mm-hmm.
After her publicity press, Selena was booked to play at several concerts throughout Mexico, including a performance at the Festival Acapulco in May of 1993. which garnered her critical acclaim. Her performance in Nueva Leon on September
You're not
17th,
showing here, by the way.
1993.
Your camera's off here.
I know, I shut it off because I was partaking in I was smoking a cigarette, that's why. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm back. All right. So her performance in Nueva Leon on September 17th,
No,
19
here on the podcast, like you're not showing. Like you're completely off.
let's
It's just
see.
me. It's just me.
Hold on. Um there we go.
There you
Okay.
go. Wait. No, it's still dark. It's still like completely dark.
Should be showing now. Well, as long can you still hear my voice?
I can hear your voice, but I can hear it mostly here because like I said, I'm just looking at myself right here.
Okay, it's fine. I can still see the thing going. It's fine. We're still gonna go. Um, so her performance in Nueva Leon on September 17th, 1993 was attended by 70,000 people, garnering her the title of Texas of the biggest Tejano act in Mexico. The album produced 4 singles: Como la Flor, Que Creías, La Gacha, and Amame. Como la Flor became Selena's signature recording. It's critically acclaimed by music critics as a career launcher for Selena. Let's see. Why is it still doing that? And just checking the thing here. Hold on, sidebar. Let me stop it. Let
That's
me
okay. Hold
pause
on,
it for
because
a second.
that's okay. Go ahead.
Let me.
Okay, here we
All right.
go.
Let's see. Can you see me?
No, it's still
Can you
black.
hear me?
I can hear you, but it's still all dark and it's got just a little picture on it. That's it.
Okay. Well, I think you can hear me. So, um, hold on.
I can hear you. It's not a big deal. Like as long as I can hear
Okay.
you.
Well, as long as you can hear me, and I think it's taping, so it should be fine. All right. So, where were we? Okay. Um, Como la Flor helped Selena to dominate the Latin music charts and became immensely popular in Mexico, where Mexicans were generally not liked among citizens and well received by critics. The track was nominated for Song of the Year and the 1993 Tejano Music Awards. The single peaked at number 6 on the US Billboard Top Latin charts, and in 1994, Entrada a mi Mundo ranked as the second best selling regional Mexican album of all time. Selena released Live a year after Entrada mi Mundo,
That's a
and
good album.
it was recorded during a free concert at Memorial Coliseum in Corpus Christi on September the 7th, 1993. The album included previously released tracks that were sung live and 3 studio recordings: No Debes Jugar, La Llamada, and Tú Robaste Mi Corazón, a duet with Tejano musician Emilio Navarra. The tracks No Debes Jugar and La Llamada peaked within the top 5 of the US Billboard Top Latin Song charts, and Live won the Grammy Award for Best Mexican American Album at the 36th Annual Grammy Awards. In May 1994, Live was named Album of the Year by the Billboard Latin Music Awards, and at the 1994 Tejano Music Awards, Live won Album of the Year, while in 1994, Los Nuestro Awards, it was nominated for Regional Mexican Album of the Year. Live was certified gold by the Record Industry Association for shipments of 500,000 copies, while in Mexico, it sold 250,000 units.
Wow.
Selena briefly appeared opposite Eric Estrada in a Mexican telenovela entitled Dos Mujeres Un Camino. In 1995, she entered negotiations to star in another telenovela produced by Emilio La Rosa. She appeared in 2 episodes, which garnered record ratings for the series. Aside from music, in 1994, Selena began designing and manufacturing a line of clothing. She opened 2 boutiques called Selena, etc., one in Corpus and the other in San Antonio. Both were equipped with in-house beauty salons, and by the end of 1994, Selena, etc. held 2 fashion shows to showcase their clothing line. Selena, along with her band Selena y los Dinos, held a concert after Selena Etc's second fashion show on December the 3rd, 1994 at Hemisphere Arena in San Antonio.
I wonder where that's at.
I wonder where that is.
Hey, I was gonna tell you really quick. Is your camera stopped over here? Because like that might be what is happening.
Yeah, I think it stopped. Hold on, I'm gonna pause it back in. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so
Technical glitch,
where
y'all. Sorry, that happens when you're live. Sorry.
okay, where were we at? Okay. Um Selena was then in negotiations to open more stores in Monterrey, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. Saldivar managed both boutiques after the Quintinilla family were impressed with the way she managed the fan club.
I'm gonna jump across this computer screen at her.
Hispanic Business Magazine reported the singer earned over $5 million from these boutiques. She was ranked among the 20th wealthiest Hispanic musicians who grossed the highest income in 1993 and 1994. Selena released her fourth studio album, Amor Prohibido, in March 1994.
I love that album.
The recording debuted at number 3 on the U.S. Billboard Top Latin charts. The number one on the U.S. and number 1 on the U.S. Billboard Regional Mexican Album charts. After peaking at number 1 on the top Latin albums, the album remained the top 5 for the rest of the year and early into 1995. Amor Prohibido became the second album to reach year-end sales of 500,000 copies, which had previously only been accomplished by La Mafia. It became one of the best-selling Latin albums in the United States. Amor Prohibido spawned 4 number 1 singles, the title track, Bitty Bitty Bum Bum, No Quiero, No Me Quiero Más, and Fotos y Recuerdos. Amor Prohibido was the best-selling U.S. albums of 1995 and has been certified 36 times platinum by the Recording Industry of America for sales of 2.16 million album equivalents units in the United States. The
Can I
album
touch
was
on one song though that's very underrated from this album, and I think it's on this album?
yes.
God's Child. I love that
It's not
song.
on this album. It's on Dreaming of You.
Okay, well, whichever album it's on, but that's a good song.
The album was named on Tom Moon's list of 1,000 recordings to hear before
Sorry,
you
y'all. I'm
die,
looking at the producer. She's right here by my feet.
a listener's life list. Amor Prohibido popularized Tejano music among a younger and wider audience at more than any other time in the genre's history. The 2 singles, Amor Prohibido and No Me Queda Más, were the most successful U.S. Latin singles of 1994 and 1995, respectively. The album's commercial success led to a Grammy nomination for Best Mexican American Album at the 37th Grammy Awards in 1997. It also won Record of the Year at 1995 Tejano Music Awards and Regional Mexican Album of 1995 Lo Nuestro Awards. Selena was named one of Latin music's most successful touring acts during her Amor Prohibido tour. After Selena's Amor Prohibido release, Selena was considered bigger than Tejano itself and broke barriers in the Latin music world. She was called the Queen of Tejano music by many media outlets. Billboard magazine ranked Amor Prohibido among the most essential Latin recordings of the past 50 years and included it on its list of top 100 albums of all time. In 2017, NPR ranked Amor Prohibido at number 19 on their list of 150 greatest albums made by women. Sales of the album and its titular single represented Tejano music's first commercial success in Puerto Rico. Selena recorded a duet titled Donde Quiere que Estés with the Barrio Boys, which was released on their album of the same name in 1994. The song reached number 1 on the top Latin songs chart, which enabled Selena to tour New York City, Argentina, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, and Central America, where she was not well known. In 1994, EMI chairman Charles Kopelman decided Selena had achieved her goals in the Spanish-speaking market, and he wanted to promote her as an English-language solo pop artist. She continued touring while EMI began preparing her crossover album, engaging Grammy Award composers. By the time Selena performed to a record-breaking sold-out concert at the Houston Astrodome in 1995, work had already begun on her Crossroads on the cross on the crossover album.
Sorry,
And
y'all. The producer had to pop in. So
yay! Let's see. I can't see her. Got to move her over. There's
she's right here.
my liquor. She's like, I hate everyone.
Heather, that's Vecna. That's Vecna. The black one's Vecna.
Okay, you guys. Here comes a bit of trivia that I bet nobody knows. In 1995, Selena made a cameo appearance in Don Juan DeMarco, which starred Marlon Brando, Johnny Depp, and Faye Dunaway. It's sort of a blink and you'll miss it, but she's part of the mariachi band that's singing in that restaurant, by the way.
I think that's Mi Tierra, isn't it?
I don't know if that's Mi Tierra, but I'm just saying.
I think that's Mi Tierra because I remember Michael and Jessica from the Grim Life Collective talking about it. So
All right, you guys, get the tissues ready. Shit's about to go down. The Quintinilla family appointed Yolanda Saldivar as the manager of Selena's boutiques in 1994. 8 months later, Selena signed Saldivar as her registered agent in San Antonio, Texas. After the agreement, Saldivar moved from San Antonio to Corpus Christi to be closer to Selena. In December 1994, the boutiques began to suffer after a number of staff for both stores had decreased. According to staff members, Saldivar often dismissed employees that she didn't like. Employees at the store regularly complained about Saldivar's behavior to Selena, who dismissed the claims, believing Saldivar would not negatively impose erratic decisions on Selena's fashion venture. According to Abraham, the staff later turned their attention to him and began informing him about Saldivar's behavior. Abraham took claims seriously, and he told Selena to be careful and said Saldivar might not be a good influence. Selena dismissed her father's inquiries because he had often distrusted people in the past. By January 1955,
okay,
Selena,
hold on, right there. Hold on, let me stop right there. Kind of valid.
exactly.
I mean, I can't argue with the girl. Like, valid.
By January of 1995, Selena's fashion designer Martin Gomez and her cousin Deborah Ramirez and clients had expressed their concern over Saldivar's behavior to management skills. During an interview with Saldivar in 1995, reporters from the Dallas Morning News said that her devotion to Selena bordered on obsession. According to Abraham, in January of 1995, he began receiving phone calls from fans who said that they had paid for a membership to the Selena fan club and had received nothing in return for it, and he began an investigation. Abraham had discovered that Saldivar had embezzled more than $30,000 via forged checks from both the fan club and the boutiques. Abraham held a meeting with Selena, and she said, on the night of March 9th at Q Productions to confront Saldivar. Abraham presented Saldivar with the inconsistencies about the disappeared funds. Abraham told her that if she did not provide evidence that disproved his accusations, he would involve the local police. Abraham banned Saldivar from having contact with Selena. However, Selena did not want to dissolve their friendship. She thought Saldivar was essential to the success of the clothing line in Mexico. Selena wanted to keep her close because she had bank records, statements, and financial records necessary for tax preparations. In the days before Selena's death, Saldivar delayed handing over the bank statements and financial records by saying she had been physically and sexually assaulted in Mexico. Saldivar, along with Selena, appeared at a medical clinic on March 31st, 1995, ostensibly to have Saldivar examined for an assault which she claimed had happened to her in Monterrey. During the visit, the The producer needs to have a word. During the visit, Saldivar had to Saldivar had been examined for the assault in which she claimed happened to her in Monterey. During that visit, Saldivar was given a brief physical examination by the clinic's doctor, and this did not include a gynecological exam specifically done in cases of sexual assault. It was suggested by nurse Carla Anthony that Saldivar needed to have the great exam in San Antonio for 3 reasons. Saldivar was a resident of San Antonio, the clinic they were currently at was in Corpus, and the assault occurred in Mexico. Afterwards, Selena met again with Saldivar in her hotel room at the Days Inn motel in Corpus Christi. At the motel, Selena demanded the financial papers. At 11:48 a.m., Saldivar got the gun from her purse and pointed it at Selena. Selena attempted to flee Saldivar, shot her once on the right shoulder, severing the subclavian artery and caused severe blood loss. Critically wounded, Selena ran towards the lobby, leaving a 392-foot trail of blood. She collapsed on the floor as the clerk called emergency services while Yolanda was still chasing after her and calling her a bitch. Subsequently, Yolanda was in her truck, circling around the parking lot looking for Selena. Before collapsing, Selena named Saldivar as her assailant and gave the number of the room where she had been shot. Meanwhile, Saldivar attempted to leave in her pickup truck, but she was spotted by a responding police cruiser. She surrendered after nearly 9.5 hour standoff with police and the FBI. And by that time, hundreds of fans had gathered at the scene, and many people wept as they took Saldivar away. When I was listening to the podcast that was describing Selena's death, they were trying to keep the media from saying that Selena had died because they were worried that Yolanda was either going to shoot herself or she was going to come out of the car and start shooting at everyone when she found out that Selena was dead. But then it was announced on the radio, and that was when they were able to get her out of the car. Selena was taken to Corpus Christi Memorial Hospital at 12 p.m. Her pupils were fixated and dilated, and there was no evidence of neurological function, and she had no vital signs. She was declared clinically brain dead, and Dr. Luis Elkins, cardiac surgeon, arrived at Memorial Hospital and said he saw doctors making heroic efforts to revive Selena. They were able to establish an erratic heartbeat long enough to transfer her to the trauma room and began giving her blood transfusions, an attempt to reestablish blood circulation after opening Selena's chest and finding massive internal bleeding. By the time Elkins arrived in the emergency room, doctor began massaging her heart and it had stopped beating. Elkins reported how all efforts were futile and said that he had began receiving he had been the receiving doctor and he had not made any treatments on Selena. He felt obligated to continue after the after the emergency room doctor made the decision to reanimate the singer. After 50 minutes of surgery, Selena was pronounced dead from blood loss and cardiac arrest at 1:05 p.m. An autopsy was performed the same day due to the overwhelming media response. It was revealed the bullet had entered Selena's upper right back near her shoulder blade, passed through her chest cavity, and severed the right subclavian artery and exited her right upper chest. Her official cause of death was described as exsanguinating internal and external hemorrhage due to perforating gunshot wound, which resulted in massive bleeding. The internal examination revealed that she had not ingested any type of drug, nor was she pregnant, which had been a rumor that began spreading after her death. Um, her funeral was held on April the 1st at Bayfront Plaza in Corpus Christi, Mexico, which held a vigil of
Sorry, y'all.
3,000
I'm trying to
fans.
hold it together. Like, I'm trying to literally hold back the tears.
During the event, it was announced that a public viewing of the casket would be held at the Bayfront Auditorium on the following day. Fans lined up for almost 1 mile, and an hour before the doctors opened, rumors that the casket was empty began circulating, which prompted the Quintinilla family to have an open casket viewing. About 30,000 to 40,000 fans passed Selena's casket. More than 78,000 signed a book of condolences. Flowers for the casket viewing were imported from the Netherlands. At the request of Selena's family, video and flash photography was banned. On April 3rd, 1995, 600 guests, mostly family members, attended Selena's burial at Seaside Memorial Park in Corpus Christi, Texas, which was broadcast live by Corpus Christi and San Antonio radio stations without the consent of her family. A Jehovah's Witness minister from Lake Jackson preached in English, quoting Paul the Apostle's words from 1 Corinthians 15. Hundreds of people began circling the areas in their vehicles. Among the celebrities who attended Selena's funeral were Roberto Pulido, Bobby Pulido, David Lee Garza, Amelia Navarra.
Hold on. Read the comments of the live. That's so freaking awesome.
I bought her tour bus, right? Get out of town! Pictures where it didn't happen. Okay, sorry.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Laura Canales.
By the way, that's a mutual. So that's mutual. So
La Mafia, Ram Herrera, Imogen, Latina, and Pete Astudillo. A special mass was held the same day at the Los Angeles Sports Arena that drew a crowd of 4,000 people. Selena's murder had a widespread impact. Reactions to her death were compared to the following deaths of the musicians John Lennon and Elvis Presley, and that of U.S. President John F. Kennedy. Major television networks interrupted their regular programs to break the news. Tom Brokaw referred to Selena as the Mexican Madonna. Her death was front-page news in the New York Times for 2 days. Many vigils and memorials were held in her honor, and radio stations in Texas played her music nonstop. Her funeral drew 60,000 mourners, many of whom traveled from outside of the United States. The news of her death struck the Hispanic community extremely hard, and many fans traveled thousands of miles to see Selena's house, boutique, and the crime scene. By mid-afternoon, police were asked to form a detour because the line of cars began backing up traffic from the Quintinilla's house. Among the celebrities who contacted the Quintinilla family to pay their respects and their condolences were Gloria Estefan, Celia Cruz, Julio Iglesias, and Madonna. Other celebrities, including Stephanie Montiel, Jaime Deonda of Los Camachos, and Shelly Lares, appeared on radio stations to express their thoughts about Selena's death. An issue of People magazine was released several days after her murder. Its publishers believed interest would soon wane. They released a commemorative issue within a week when it became clear it was growing. The issue sold nearly 1 million copies, selling the entire first and second run within 2 weeks. It became a collector's item, a first in the history of People magazine. Betty Contina, an editor of People, told Biography they had never had an issue that was completely sold out. It was unheard of. In the following months, the company released People in Espanol, aimed at Hispanic market due to the success of the Selena issue. This was followed by Newsweek in Espanol and Latino magazine. All right, let's see. Okay. Texas retailers removed any products Uh, sorry, it's just some stuff about Howard Stern. The next thing is on April 12th, 1995, 2 weeks after Selena's death, George W. Bush, governor of Texas at the time, declared her birthday, April 16th, Selena Day in the state. He said Selena represented the essence of South Texas culture. Some Americans in Texas wrote to the editor of Barrazo Sport Facts during April and May asking what the big deal was. Some were offended that Selena Day fell on Easter, and others said Easter is more important than Selena Day, and they believed people should let Selena rest in peace and continue with their lives. Mexican Americans in Texas wrote voiced furiously to the newspaper, and some said others were too critical of Selena Day and should not have responded so rudely. In October 1995, a Houston jury convicted Yolanda Saldivar of first-degree murder, and she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. After 30 years and 20, or sorry, with the possibility of parole on April 30th, uh, parole after 30 years in 2025. Life with the possibility of parole was the maximum term allowed in Texas that can be imposed at the time. In 2002, under a Georgia's judge's order, the gun used to kill Selena was destroyed and the pieces were thrown into the Corpus Christi Bay. Fans and historians approved of the decision to destroy the gun, saying the event was historical and the gun should have been saved in a museum. I think not. Um, so that's pretty much it. As far as Selena's life, but her legacy remains. Selena has been credited for helping redefine Latin music and its subgenres of Tejano, cumbia, and Latin pop. Selena broke barriers in the Latin music world, and she's considered. Hold on a second. And she is considered one of the most significant Mexican American singers of the end of the 20th century. Hold on, you guys. Sorry, I'm getting back on
Okay,
my
hold on. I'm
TikTok.
gonna I'm gonna make a comment really quick. Kesha,
Okay.
thank you for coming in. Love you. Appreciate you coming. I will check out the video as soon as I'm done here. We're recording this podcast. Again, much love to you. Get well soon in your surgery. You're in my thoughts and in my prayers. Much love from me and all my friends and my sister here.
People magazine named Selena one of the most intriguing people of the 20th century, and U.S. Senator Kay Bailey Hutchinson named Selena one of the most spirited women who shaped the United States. Selena's become one of the most celebrated cultural products of the United States Mexico borderlands. Selena was called the Queen of Tejano music and was described as the most important and popular Tejano star of all time. Her death was the most devastating loss in Tejano music history, according to Zach Quintins of the Monitor. At the time of her death, Selena became one of the most widely known Mexican American vocalists and the most popular Latin artist in the United States. She had a cult like following among Hispanics. Selena has been named as one of the most influential Latin artists of all time and has been credited with elevating a music genre into the mainstream market. Latin Post called the singer one of the most iconic artists in Latin American history, and while the New York Times called her arguably the most important Latina musician in the country on the way to becoming one of the most important, period. Selena became a household name in the United States and Mexico following her death and became part of the American pop culture. She became more popular in death than when she was alive. After her death, her popularity among Hispanic population was compared to those of Marilyn Monroe and Madonna in Anglo-American culture. According to author Carlotta Caulfield, Selena was one of the most popular Latina singers in the 1990s.
I believe it.
Selena's popularity was drawn in by the LGBT community and minority groups in the United States. The popularity of Tejano music waned after her death and has not recovered. John Leonard of Billboard said in an interview with Biography magazine in 2007 that when Selena died, the Tejano market died with her. I mean, that's sort of true.
Just name
Dreaming
me
of
one good
You.
Tejano artist currently.
Exactly. Dreaming of You, the crossover album Selena had been working on at the time of her death, was released in July of 1995. It sold 175 copies on the day it was released in the US, and then a then record for a female vocalist, and then went on to sell 331 copies in its first week. Selena became the third female artist to sell over 300,000 units in a week after Janet Jackson and Mariah Carey. Dreaming of You debuted at #1 on the US Billboard 200 chart, becoming the first album by a Hispanic artist to do so. Dreaming of You helped Selena become the first solo artist to debut a posthumous album at #1. Dreaming of You joined 5 of Selena's studio albums on the Billboard Top 200 chart simultaneously, making Selena the first female artist in Billboard history to do so. The album was certified 59 times platinum from the Latin field and for sales of 3,054 million album equivalent units in the United States. As of 2017, Dreaming of You has sold over 2,942 million copies in the US, making it the best-selling Latin album of all time in the country, according to Nielsen SoundScan. As of 2017, the recording has sold 5 million copies worldwide. In 2008, Joey Guerra of the Houston Chronicle said its lead single, I Could Fall in Love, had made the Tejano goddess a posthumous crossover star. Her death was believed to have sparked an interest in Latin music by people who were unaware of its existence. It's also believed her death opened doors to other Latin musicians such as Jennifer Lopez, Ricky Martin, and Shakira. In 1995, the United States Social Security Administration ranked Selena one of the most popular names for newborn girls, and its namesake Selena Gomez acknowledged Quintinilla's influence. In December 1999, Selena was named the um, top Latin artist of the 1990s and the best-selling Latin artist of the decade by Billboard for her 14 top 10 singles in the top Latin songs charts,
What? You're
including
trying to get
7
on
number
camera
one
too?
hits.
You're trying to get on camera too?
She was one of the best Latin female vocal singers of the 90s in the US and Mexico. Selena was named Best Female Vocalist of 1980s and the Female Vocalist of the 1990s at the 2010 Tejano Music Awards. In 2023's Rolling Stone ranked Selena at number 89 on its list of 100 greatest singers of all time. I would agree with that. In the months following her death, several honors and tributes were erected. Several proposals were made, such as naming streets, public park, food products, and auditorium. 2 months later, a tribute was held at Lo Nuestro Awards, and the Spirit of Hope Award was created in Selena's honor in 1996. It was awarded to Latin artists who participated in humanitarian and civic causes. On March 16th, 2011, the United States Postal Service released a Latin Legends memorial stamp to honor Selena, Carlos Gardel, Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, and Carmen Miranda.
Well, I didn't know Celia Cruz had a postage stamp.
In February 14th, the Albany, New York Times Union named her one of the coolest Americans in history. And in 1998, Selena was commemorated with a museum. In 1999 and 1995, Selena was inducted into the Billboard Latin Music Hall of Fame at the Hard Rock Cafe's
Hell yeah.
Hall of Fame and the South Texas Hall of Fame. In 2000, she was inducted into the Tejano Music Hall of Fame. And in 2017, she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The unveiling ceremony at her star was attended by around 4,500 fans, which was the largest crowd for an unveiling. Sorry, which was the largest crowd for an unveiling ceremony at the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She was named one of 20 most influential Texans of all times by author Lori Jasinski, and she's ranked fifth of the 100 most influential Latin musicians of the 20th century, according to the Orange County Register. The singers was has been given many epithets by media outlets, including the Queen of Cuba, the Chicana Elvis, the Queen of hybrid
I'll
pop
allow it.
culture,
I'll allow it. I'll
the
allow it.
Hispanic Marilyn Monroe, the Tupac Shakur of Latin music, and the Corpus Christi Queen. The People's Princess, and the media has compared Selena's fashion sense to that of Madonna more times than many other celebrities. In 1995, Mexican actress Selma Hayek was chosen to portray Selena in a biopic produced by the Quintinilla family and Warner Brothers. However, Hayek turned down the role as she felt it was too early to base the film on Selena and that it would be emotional since Selena's death was still being covered on American television. Over 21,000 people auditioned for the title role, becoming the second largest audition since The Search for Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. Puerto Rican actress Jennifer Lopez replaced Hayek, which initially grew criticism because of Lopez's Puerto Rican ancestry. But seeing her performance, fans changed their views.
I didn't.
Gregory Nava directed the film, which was released on March 21st, 1997. Selena opened in 185 theaters worldwide and grossed $11,615 and 722 million, making it the second highest grossing film debut that week. With a production budget of $20 million, the film grossed $35 million in the US. The film was a commercial and critical success, and is often cited by critics as Lopez's breakthrough role.
Yeah, I can
Lopez
kind of see that.
Jennifer Lopez rose into pop culture for which the film's success was created. In 1999, a Broadway-bound musical titled Selena was scheduled to premiere in San Antonio, and in March of 2000 to commemorate the 5th anniversary of her murder. Broadway producers Tom Quinn, Jerry Frankel, Peter Fitzgerald, and Michael Vega staged the musical. And Edward Gallardo wrote the show's book and lyrics. Fernando Rivas composed the show's songs, and in 2000, Selena Forever was first produced, and the show embarked on a 30-city U.S. tour with a budget of over $2 million U.S. After a national casting call, producers chose Veronica Vasquez to portray Selena and alternated the role with Rebecca Valdez. The musical previewed on March 21st and opened on March 23rd at the San Antonio Municipal Auditorium.
I don't think I ever
I
heard of
don't,
it.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Because usually they'll promote it in those commercials. I don't think I ever saw a commercial.
I don't think so either. Selena's family and former band, Los Dinos, held a tribute concert on April 5th, 2005, a week after the 10th anniversary of her murder. The concert, titled Selena Vive, was broadcast live on Univision and achieved 35.9 household rating. It was the highest rated and most viewed Spanish language television produced in the history of American television. And the special was also the number one program in language among adults 18 to 35 in Los Angeles, Chicago, and San Francisco, and it tied for the first New York, beating that night's episode of Fox reality show American Idol. Among Hispanic viewers, Selena Vive outperformed Super Bowl and telenovela Soy Tu Dueña during the most watched NFL season ever among Hispanics. In January of 2015, it was announced that a 2-day annual event called Fiesta de la Flor would be held in Corpus Christi for Selena by the Corpus Christi Visitors Bureau. Musical acts for the first annual event included Cumbia All Stars, Chris Perez, Los Lobos, Jay Perez, Little Joel y La Familia, Los Palominos, Stephanie Montiel of Las Three Divas, Girl in a Coma's Nina Diaz, Las Phoenix, and The Voice contested contestant Clarissa Serna. The event reached 13 million with an attendance of 52,000 people, 72% of whom lived outside Corpus Christi. The event sparked interest from people within 35 states and 5 different countries, including Mexico, Brazil, and Ecuador. On August 30th, 2016, a wax statue of Selena was unveiled at Madame Tussauds Hollywood. In 2016, MAC Cosmetic released a limited edition of Selena makeup line after an on-air with Ryan Seacrest. Senior producer Patty Rodriguez started a petition for the company to do so, and its garnering of over 37,000 signatures. It became
Wow.
the best-selling celebrity line in cosmetic history. Selena was inducted into the Texas Women's Hall of Fame at Texas Women's University in 2016, and an exhibit at the National Museum of American History in Washington, D.C. that ran in 2017 focused on Selena's influence in marketing due to her massive appeal in both general and Latino markets. Advertisers began targeting specific demographics for the first time. Google honored Selena on October 17th in 2017 with a musical doodle of her life. I see it all the time. When the little thing on Google pops up. On
Wait,
December
who?
11th, the little Google doodle. When you look on Google, actually, let me see if it's on right now. There's like,
Yeah, I'm just talking about now.
hold on, I'll see if I can find it. It should be showing today, is in fact.
I don't think I saw it because I was just on Google. I don't think I saw it.
I got you. Hold on. I'm going to send it to you right now. Okay, I'm going to post the link in the chat so that you can see it.
Hold on, Tinkerbell. To answer your question, I love the movie. Just don't like Jennifer Lopez.
All right, so I posted the link in the chat. Actually, guys, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to share my screen so we could all see it together.
Okay.
Hold on a tick.
Okay, hold on. Let me turn. Hold on. Let me turn. Hold on.
Share
Let me
my
turn the
screen.
camera.
Hold on, I'm going to share my screen so we could all see it together.
Okay, I got the camera turned so we can all see it. Y'all see it there? Y'all see it? Okay, she's sharing the screen. Hold on. There it is. You gotta mute it because we'll get copyrighted. I know, Heather, that's so cool, right? You're muted. You're muted. It says right there that you're muted. There you go.
Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah. So this is the Google Doodle that appeared over Google. I can't play the music because I don't want to get copyrighted, but this is basically what came on Google. It tells her life story about Selena and her family and how she became famous, and I love it. It runs for 1 minute and 31 seconds. And there's Big Bertha and everyone driving to Honolulu, and then she's singing Bitty Bitty Bom Bom, and everyone commemorating her life. And that is the Google Doodle.
Rest in peace, Selena.
All right. All right. Now let's stop sharing the screen.
Back to my ugly mug.
Share.
All
right. Now back to us. Can you still hear me now?
I can still hear you. Yeah.
All right. So where were we? All right. So Google Doodle. Okay. On December 11th, 2018, it was announced that a biographical television series based on Selena's life, titled Selena the Series, would be released on Netflix in December 2020. The actress Christian Serratos plays the leading role of Selena, which was shown in a teaser trailer in 2019. The two-part series is being done with the participation of the Quintinilla family. Selena the series is an American biographical drama streaming television series created by Moses Zamora and starring Christian Serratos. The first part of the series was released on Netflix on December the 4th, and the final part premiered May 4th, 2021. Forever 21 announced the launch of a clothing line celebrating her legacy named Selena the White Rose Collection, which was
That's
released in
cute.
2019. In a 10-part podcast miniseries, Anything for Selena, broadcast in 2021 by WBUR-FM and Futuro Media, Latina journalist Maria Garcia goes on an intimate, revelatory quest to understand how Selena became a potent symbol for tensions around race, class, and body politics in the United States. In the same year, Selena was posthumously presented with a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, which her family received on the artist's behalf. Selena was posthumously awarded the 2019 Medal of Arts, which was accepted by her sister in a ceremony held in October 2024. Mirada de la Flor, pronounced Lookout of the Flower, is Selena's own life-size bronze statue monument in Corpus Christi, Texas, sculpted by Buddy Tatum and unveiled in 1997. About 30,000 people from around the world visit this monument every year. While the monument has remained popular tourist attraction, and the construction of the statue met some resistance from the local community. Dusty Durrell, a local philanthropist, financed the construction of the monument with support from the local community leaders. And that's it. That's basically Selena in a nutshell. All right, so let's go back to one thing. So, Selena shares something in common with somebody else that we've talked about at length on this podcast before, and that is she shares her death date with Brandon Lee down to 2 minutes. Brandon Lee passed away on March 31st, 1993. His official time of death was listed as 1:03 p.m., and Selena's time of death was listed as 1:05 p.m. I thought I would mention that
Different
because
years, right? Different years, right?
2 years to the day, to the minute apart. I thought I would mention that because he's also on the back of my mind now, as well as I sit here talking about Selena. Um, Subsequently, Brandon Lee does not have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, by the way. I'm just saying we need to get
His
that
dad
fixed.
does. His dad Bruce Lee does.
But that's just me. Um, and as of 2025, Selena has not been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. A travesty. Anyways, so that was our Selena episode. Deke, in closing, what do you have to say about Selena?
What can I say that hasn't already been said?
Exactly.
And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna keep this as short as I can and as sweet as I can. She was truly a godsend and an angel that we did not deserve. Even though she was here for a short time and she graced the world with her music and gave us love and something to look forward to, he took that away too soon. And I all I'm gonna say is rest in peace, Selena. We love you, we still miss you, and yes, we're still dreaming of you.
Exactly. She would never be forgotten. Not by us, not by the next the generations that have come up with the people who were around when she was alive, our kids, our grandkids. We will never forget Selena. And today, on the 30th anniversary of the day of your death, we still mourn you. We think about you. As I also stated, I'm thinking about Brandon Lee as well and the life that he didn't get to live, that he didn't get to get married or have children, and Selena's life with Chris as well. Subsequently, I also want to say um, the family tension with Chris has always been there and it's always been prevalent to me. In the days after her death, it seemed to me like the family didn't want Chris to like be on a lot of the specials. I know that he was hurting after her death, and it still. I'm sure it took him a very long time to get over it, and grief is hard, man. It really is hard, but um, that's pretty much Selena. So, you guys, that was our Selena episode. And if you come to our live on TikTok, which we are now, I'm going to show you the magazine I just bought that commemorates the 30 years of Selena.
Which will
Um,
only be on for a few more minutes because then we're gonna shut it off.
and then after that, I have to get ready for bed because I got to go to work at 9. But other than that,
Boo!
that was a Selena episode. All right, you guys, it's been fun. We'll see you on TikTok live here in a minute.
Y'all
It's
been all
been
that. We've been
real.
pickles and bacon. Bye.
Bye.